pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's pray. Almighty God, as we gather, we thank you for the opportunity to be here this evening, for the blessing it is to be able to serve the people of Pendleton County, the students and the staff members and the guardians. We ask that you would bless us and this deliberation and our decisions. Bless us with wisdom and the ability to move forward as you would have. Amen.
Amen.
Excuse me. I don't think we have any public comments, so we move to student and staff recognition.
I have none at this time.
None of that, so we have minutes to approve, and we have a whole bunch of minutes to approve. February 10th, February 18th, February 20, March 1st, and March 3rd. We've all received those. Are there any corrections or additions to the minutes that you received, or do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes. Any discussion? All in favor of approval, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed, no. Motion passes. And then under personnel, nothing under resignations. Is that correct? No, there are resignations. I'm sorry. I don't have my computer in front of me. We do have resignations, so it's all yours.
All right. Resignation and retirements. Dave Eason, resignation, middle school girls basketball coach at Pendleton County Middle High School. Joshua Warner, resignation, custodian at Pendleton County Middle High School. And Martin Niley, resignation, assistant principal at Pendleton County Middle High School.
Yeah, my recommendation to accept the resignations as presented.
Our superintendent's recommendation is to accept the resignations as presented. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion or any questions? Then all in favor of approving the resignations, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed, no. Motion passes. The resignations are accepted. Employment.
Employment and personnel. Nicole Hefner, superintendent. Ruth Bright, cook at Pendleton County Middle High School. Jennifer Cook, extracurricular assistant cheerleading coach at Pendleton County Middle High School. Catherine Moats, substitute aide. Catherine Moats, substitute cook. Mary Weiss, substitute custodian. Anna Rexroad, substitute teacher. And Anthony Tingler, contracted bus driver for North Fork Elementary School and Pendleton County Middle High School.
Yeah, my recommendation for employment of personnel as presented.
Our superintendent's recommended employing the personnel as presented. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion or are there any questions? Then all in favor of employment of the personnel as presented, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed, no. Motion passes. Approval of contracts.
Approval of contracts, substitute service personnel as listed, and substitute administrative as listed.
So we have a long list of approval contracts. These are ones we just do annually. These are not new hires or people we've had hired. We renew those contracts every year, and that's just our substitute personnel list. And our substitute administrators are Rick Lindenberg and John Jenkins, and I recommend approval of contracts as listed along with the substitute administrators.
Our superintendent is recommending the approval of the contracts and substitute administrators. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Then all in favor of approving as presented, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed, no. Motion passes. And we have nothing under non-paid coaches, volunteers, and chaperones.
Approval of volunteer and chaperones at Franklin Elementary School and Pendleton County Middle High School as listed.
Give my recommendation for approval of volunteer chaperones at Franklin Elementary and Pendleton County Middle High School as listed.
The superintendent's recommended approval of the volunteers and chaperones as listed. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion or any questions? Then all in favor of approving, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed, no. Motion passes. And nothing under leaves of absence. So that'll finish us up under personnel, and we will move to finance.
Okay, under Finance, 6A, we have Treasurer's Report for the month of February. I am pulling it up on my screen. It's up on the monitor. And so I am showing that for the month of February, we had a starting balance of $2,592,855.83. Receipts for the month, $742,439.39. Disbursements, $1,186,967.14. Most of that was payroll, as is normally the case. Ending fund balance, $2,148,328.08. As we've discussed, the winter months, particularly going through February, is a low point for cash flow, but it's good when you have $2 million in February as a low point, as opposed to 200,000 or 100,000. As not too many years ago, you were wondering if you could have enough cash on hand. So that is the case with their 2.1 million, 148. Going down the page of information, interest rate continues to drop a little bit, 4.38% for the month. We dipped below 10,000, but it's still 9,433.72. Year to date from July 1 is 74,655.11. So that includes all the way up through February. The second page just shows some basic information that will tie back to the bills, ties back to the gross payroll. And so getting back to the bottom line, the current month ending fund balance, we should have taxes and state aid start to pick up, as well as some federal reimbursements. Ending fund balance, $2,148,328.08.
Yep, my recommendation to approve the treasurer's report for February 2025.
Our superintendent's recommending we approve the February 2025 Treasurer's Report. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Any questions? Then all in favor of approving the February Treasurer's Report with a balance of $2,148,328.08 ending, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed, no. Motion passes.
Okay, the next item we have is 6B, financial update. So a financial update, I'm going to talk about the assessed evaluations for taxes. Before I get to that, we are monitoring some developments on the federal front, whether it be Medicaid or secure rural schools or federal funding in general. We don't have any specifics if we know that anything's going to change for next fiscal year or not. We've received some information that there may be some implications for Medicaid, but it might not be next year. It might be the year after. So we're continuing to take a look and see where we stand with some of those items, as well as any state funding. So we'll continue to monitor those and update those with you. We have additional information. Turning into the one now I have under financial update, taxes, assessed valuations. Now we will not really we won't approve the local levy for taxes until the next meeting in March. It has to be between March 7 and March 28. But it does show here for the taxes, these rates are set by the state. It's not like the county commission again. It is not like that where they can set the rates or change them if they would want to. Rates have gone up again. The second page shows up the total assessed values. Total assessed values have gone up, 713 million to 739. So in chart form, that shows from 2001, we were just over 200 million countywide, and for FY26 year, current term, 739 million. We'll apply those to the rates set by the state for the local levy. That will be the proposed levy rates at the next meeting towards the end of March. And then that'll stand adjourned until the third Tuesday in April. And then we'll officially lay the levy with the rates prescribed by the state. And so that's just information that we have to take a look at as far as the taxable assessed values go. So the more local taxes that go to education, the less money comes from the state with that 15% variance. That's in there to call local share you get to keep. So just basic information under financial update. Again, we are taking a look at some allocation from the state and federal, but nothing to report right now. And that's all I have in our financial update. Unless there are any questions.
Any questions under financial update? Thank you.
Right, I can tell, I can tell. Yeah, I don't know what to do about it. Yeah, if I could tell him to fix it for me, it'd be great.
Don't know.
It looks like we're live, but we're not live. I have no idea why. So at any rate, let's see, bills. So next item C for bills, Board of Risk. So I'm starting out here with the month of February. Total $628,846.51 for the month of February. So on that first total page, Board of Risk quarterly payments is showing $37,237 for the Board of Risk. The next page shows the bus lift inspection, $14.50. So that was a bus lift, and that's reimbursed 95%. Inspect the bus lift at the bus garage. It's important that we do that because it is a lift that we purchased for $40,000 several years ago, and it has helped a lot getting underneath the buses that are out there. And again, so it's an important expense to keep that inspected. So a couple samples of expenses that we had this year. North Fork roller shades, $79.86. Some of the updated roller shades and blinds over there for North Fork Elementary. The next one is floor machine, $59.95. An example of a floor machine that we needed to purchase. The next item, moving down the list, legal expenses that we have pretty much on a monthly basis. Ed Mentum Academy enrollment, $78.70, and that's paid for with step 7. Now, that's an example of items that we're paying for that used to pay out of federal grants, particularly the COVID grants. And there's a number of these that we will look at here in the spring later, the totals of all of these and where we used to pay for them from, where we pay for them now, and just kind of reassess all the expenditures on those and take a look at some of those. So,
What is that, JP?
Travis, can you tell us more what
Which one?
the academy enrollment for Ed
That's
Mentum?
our virtual school.
Okay, yeah, that's our virtual school for that one. Then we have Horizon Education, which is 24-25 school year for $14.5. I'm not, Travis, know which
And
one?
that's the high school benchmarking tool that we use in 9
Okay.
and 12.
High school benchmarking tool that we use. Yep, so that's exactly right. Going down the page, we have some items. We have electric. So for the month of February, that's one of the highest months. Of course, it was a record cold in January, one of the coldest in the past 100 years, January into February. That totals, over $38,000 for electric bills that were paid towards mid to the end of February. So some of that time frame would have been late January, mid-January to mid to late February. So we would have the first group of bills does not include the high school. That was $25,000 total. The second one for $12,000 includes the high school. So that would include $38,000 total for electric. That's there. The next item, HVAC replacement we have. That was with Owens. Vocational unit. So Ron Hudson has some vocational grant money. His cooler for all of his meat items at the high school was basically going down, not working. So we shared some cost with him. Over half of that money will come from a vocational grant, and less than half of that will come from county funds to help replace that unit out at the middle high school. Propane diesel for the month of January into mid-February. Diesel was just over $7,000, but the rest was about propane and a little bit of fuel oil. The bus garage is the one place that uses the fuel oil. So $30,000 total for propane, diesel, and a little bit of fuel oil for the month of mid-January into mid-February for the payment. That's all the particular items that I have as far as notations. So for the month of February, unless you have questions, 628, 846, 51.
I recommend approval of bills for February 2025.
The superintendent's recommending that we pay the bills for February 2025. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Yep, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion on that? All in favor of paying the bills, $628,846.51, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed, no. Motion passes Anything under budget revisions?
Sorry. Where we at?
There's nothing under budget revisions, are there?
Nothing under budget revisions, right? That's correct. That's correct.
Any questions for JP? Then we'll move to facilities update.
Okay. This Thursday, Kenny Hugert, who works for the Department of Education, he will be in the county doing his annual facility review. This year, he's decided to take a look at North Fork Elementary and Pendleton County High School. So Dan will be going with him around to take a look at the building. He has a checklist he'll go over. He'll share that back with us. It's just something that they do every year. We have our new heating tiles in this room. I don't know if I've talked to you guys since they've been in, but they did a really good job the last time it was so chilly in here. It really kept up, and there's 3 of them in this middle row. You can't hardly tell any difference from the lights, but there's 3 of them that puts the heat down, and it seems like it's gonna work. We'll see what the electric bill looks like after using it in a while. JP will have to give me an update on that part of it.
But they did make a real difference. When they tested them out, the temperature in here was noticeably warmer when they had to come in, so it made
That
a
last
tremendous
cold
difference.
spell, we could heat this whole area through here and out, even out there, and it was way better than it was before. So,
Did you do ceiling tiles out there as well?
no.
Just,
We tried them in here first, just to kind of see how it would work, and if we could leave the doors open to see if it would go out into that area.
Yeah.
It was pretty good, heating it up, the whole area, so.
that's cool.
We may not have to add any more. We have a project that we started at Brandywine back in the fall with some window replacement. In one of the older sections of the window of the building, there's some wooden windows with single pane glass. We're trying to get those replaced. However, we're dealing with some asbestos in the glazing that's around the windows. And so we're going to have to work with a abatement company to get those windows out, and then our new windows are in. We just have to get the whole process to work together. So that's something we want to try to get done here in the next couple of months to get that project kind of off the books. We started the Klein building with the door install out there. We got the bollards set, got them painted, and the next phase of that would be just installing the electric roll-up, roll-down door. I think Mr. Hedrick mentioned the last time when I wasn't here about the safety grant for the high school. We did get $50,000, so we'll be working on, we had two items on that agenda to do out there to help with school safety. And this Friday, March the 7th, we'll be meeting in this room to start with reunification training with Sean Dunbrack, who is one of the safety folks in the state. So that kind of gives you an update on the facilities. If you have any questions, I'll try to answer them.
Well, congratulations on getting that grant.
Yes.
And the blinds over North Fork, those, the roller blinds for each room, I seen there was 24 of them over there.
Every single one of them is similar to what we have right here in this room. So they still had, I think they only had 1 or 2 rooms that had this style of blind. They still had the vertical shades. And so with these here, you can roll them down, people can't see in. So dealing with school safety, that was one of the things they kind of asked for. So we did that over there, and he installed them on a Saturday, maybe last Saturday.
What about the sage curtain?
I have not heard any more back from that guy.
The safety blinds was part of their LSIC request.
I
Yes.
thought it was on there, so.
Any more questions? Then that'll conclude us for facilities, and we move down to the old business policies for review, second reading.
All right, so I will pull these up here. It's the same grouping of policies we had a month ago. And so again, there was over 60 policies, 61 in one group, and then there was Title IX. There was about 9 policies in another group, so over 70 total. So they've been out there under the update tab for the policy manual. So, I won't go over all the meetings or all of the policies are out there. By and large, they are required by state board policy, state legislation, or federal updates or legislation. in those items, and the Title IX particularly is being updated to meet the current criteria. I'm glad to answer any questions that you have, but those are recommended for approval and adoption into our county policy manual.
You have my recommendation to approve the policies out for review on the second reading.
So do we have a motion to approve the policies for review for a second reading, which will be the final approval?
So moved.
Do we have a motion? Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion or any questions? Then all in favor of approving the policies as a second reading, final approval, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. Nothing under new business, so we come to the chronic absence report.
All right. Carrie wasn't gonna make it back in time, so she wanted me to share. One thing that she wanted me to point out was on day, being the first column under Pendleton, that our chronic absenteeism on day 120 is a little bit higher than it was on day 110. And she said that, she's seeing a spike in doctor's notes right now with the number of absences we have for sicknesses in the building. So I think across other than at North Fork and Brandywine, the other two schools have a little bit of an increased amount too in that area, but that she just wanted to share that. That was the only thing she had.
Okay. Any questions under chronic absenteeism?
What is the number, Travis, or maybe Charles knows, that the states you start getting, is there a number they look at there?
15.
For chronic?
Bad. They start looking at really at 10, but 15 kind of crosses over the.
Okay, thank you.
Any more questions? School improvement and student achievement.
All right. Falling asleep here. March 14th, end of the 9 weeks. Last Friday, we had our county math field day. The weather cooperated with us to get in on time. And those students that placed first, second, or third in grades 4 through 9 will go on to the regional math field day, which is March the 10th in Shepherdstown. We'll also be taking 10 or 12 high school students, 10 through 12, to compete there as well. And on that same day of March the 10th, we have one student that's going to go to the state science fair, and she's in 8th grade. So that's all I have.
Any questions under school improvement, student achievement?
Maybe Travis, it'd be nice if sometimes she could even give us how she done it, or a project or something. I think that's always nice,
I'll ask her.
Superintendent's update.
Okay, and I put out an all call, but the March the 17th through 21st, which was our spring break, now those are makeup days, and I think everybody's aware of that. The town tentatively is under boil water advisory for this Friday and Saturday, and that affects Franklin Elementary and Pendleton County Middle High School. We have water already on hand, we have things in place, and we have cooking water as well as drinking water. So we're good to go if it does take place. There were some questions, with the weather, the storm coming up, if they'd be able to perform the work. So regardless of whether it's this week or next week, we are ready to go. JP touched a little bit on funding. We are looking at funding. Realize that there might be some reduction in some federal funds and some other things coming our way. We feel, I think, fairly certain that we're pretty stable for next year. We had to look at our community and schools funding. It took a reduction. We're going to have to make some decisions there as to how we want to proceed, but we are working on a plan, and we will probably bring that to you back at the next board meeting. But hopefully we'll be able to work some things out. We initially thought that things might be far worse than what they are, but it looks better for next year, and I would say that to put that out so people can hear that. Unless something changes radically from what we've been made aware of, next year looks pretty stable for us as far as the funding plays. And the last thing I have is I'll be meeting with Mrs. Hebner next Monday. We'll begin a transition plan as from making the transition from me retiring and for her taking over. So I look forward to that immensely, maybe more than she does. But we will begin that next week, and we will work cooperatively together to make sure it's a smooth transition and that things are in place and that she's ready to go on the first day. So that's it.
Any questions under superintendent's update? Conference and meeting update.
Strangely enough, and I think it's because there's so many spring breaks that are still taking place, I have no meetings between now and our next board meeting.
Okay. And our next board meeting will be here on Tuesday, the 25th at 5:30, and I will accept a motion to adjourn.
The leader on our thing is that Roanoke, the end of the year meeting, if,
Yeah, does anybody want to go to
yeah,
that?
I think Lisa
end of
put
year
that on
meeting?
there, anybody in May.
It's
Where's it
May
at?
the-
It's the one in
It's
Stonewall,
May
May
the 3rd.
3rd. It's my
I'll put it up on
birthday.
the screen,
Yeah.
Lisa had posted it
Yeah,
up
it's
on
May
the
the
screen.
3rd. I had put it out there for y'all to look
I
at.
think we,
I'm good.
Nobody needs the hours, I don't
Nobody
believe.
needs
That's
the
my
hours.
birthday. I ain't spend it. It's day.
I have the agenda out there too, do you see?
I might be in California.
Yeah.
so if you do decide to go, just let Lisa know, and
I'm sure Mr. Brown will send us out an update of all
I'm sure.
the laws pertaining to education that passed.
That one could be an interesting one to go to, though, because there could be a whole lot of changes.
You know,
That's
I think
true.
Wilma had
Wilma
mentioned she wanted to
had
go.
Wilma, did you
Yes,
hear?
I do. If I'm able to go, I'd like to go to that because I think the impact of the legislature will deal with what's on the wall.
I'm going to seriously consider it also.
When do you have to know by, Lisa?
Well, it says registration is till April the 18th.
Okay, well, you've got a good bit then.
Yeah.
Have to know by the April 18th, Wilma.
Well, tentatively put me down to go. I'll know a little more at April the 1st when I go back to the doctor for my second visit. Hopefully they'll release me, and we're working towards trying to get me to be able to go up steps and to use a cane. So that's what's in the mix for the next 3 weeks at least.
Nicole, also, if you would like to go, just let Lisa know.
And at this point, I'll accept a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor of adjourning, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed, no.